What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers win a basketball game, although they made it pretty eventful as they beat the Utah Jazz 136 to 134. The Blazers move above 500 for the first time since January of 2023. So it's been almost 3 years since the Blazers have had more wins than losses on their record, and they get the job done today. But, if the Blazers were ever going to go above 500, it was going to be something like, yeah, they look great. They build a 22-point lead against the Utah Jazz, and then they almost lose. That was today's game for you guys. Lots of good Blazer basketball there in the second and third quarters. Rough first quarter and horrific fourth quarter. And it got to the point where I thought the Blazers were really going to choke a 22-point lead in Utah, but they take care of business. They get the win, and they move to 3-2 on the day. This has been quite a long day for me, so I don't know how long we're going to be live tonight. Probably an hour and a half, a little bit under that maybe. But, sorry for going live a little bit late. I was running around trying to find my headphones because I have to be able to hear Eric to do a show with Eric. So, that's pretty important. I have cats that I think drug it into the corner of the room. And, so apologies for going live a little bit late. But we're here. We're ready to break down this game. We're ready to talk about some good things and some bad things. We talk about it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. We talk about every single aspect of it, no matter if we win or lose. We break down the entire game. Eric, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm just glad the Blazers survived that 22-point comeback.
Survice? Oh, my God. I told you it's been a long day, man. I told you it's been a long day. I will fix that. Yeah, see there, case in point. The Blazers survive in Utah.
Ugh.
And you got the Zelda ringtone, slow start to this one, but the Blazers get a win, and that's they score the ball well, but man, 134 points in regulation against Utah is not what we were expecting. We weren't expecting to win games like this, Eric, where we win 136 to 134. We were expecting, if anything, it would be more likely we win a game 96 to 94, not 136 to 134. So this game was made no sense from the jump. Blake Wesley hits multiple threes and then hurts himself headbutting Nurkic's ass. You had Ryan Rupert minutes. You had 12 guys play in the first half. Duop Reith hits 3 threes. Rupert hits a 3. This was just a strange game. You had a Caleb Love 3 right after a Blake Wesley 3. There's a lot in this game that made absolutely no sense. And of course, just to cap it all off, the Jazz have to almost come back from a 22-point deficit. So this was crazy. This is maybe one of the weirdest games of the season. At the end of the season, we'll be looking back at this as one of the weirdest games of the season. But at least they get the win, in a season where we're trying to win games. This is the type of game you absolutely cannot choke. And they did not choke, and they barely survived.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is thankfully they got the win because this would have been a pretty somber game to lose if they would have not held on there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know what word I mixed that up with. I don't even know what.
I meant to say survive.
I definitely meant to say survive, but I don't know what word I mixed it up with. But anyway.
Well, the C's next to the B, you could have just hit the wrong key.
True. I'm a pretty good typer, though. I don't know. That's probably what it was. Where do you want to start with this one? Because there's 10 different points we can start. I'll just say, do you want to start with the rotations? Is that a good thing to start with? I was baffled by the rotations, but they worked. So I guess that's why I'm not the coach.
So I don't want to kill Thiago because I think it was his style to play a lot of guys for the tempo he wants to play, and he's used to that as a coach. And so I don't necessarily want to just be why would you put this player in or why would you put that player in? Because I think it's pretty obvious he's trying to keep guys as fresh as possible with the style we're playing, picking up players. I don't know what it is after this game, but going into this game, since they started keeping track, would be by far the most amount of, or the highest point of pickup in NBA history on defense. So I have a feeling he's just trying to buy as many minutes as he can for some players. And then there's been a little bit of foul trouble too. Sharp had 3 fouls in the first half. I think Jeremy Grant got his 4th foul right after coming into the game in the third quarter. So a little bit of that is trying to manage minutes that way. And then we do have some weird people playing because Thibault leaves this game after a couple minutes, and Chris Murray was sick, so he didn't play. So like the normal rotations were messed up, but I feel like he's not doing a good job of interchanging some of the players that shouldn't be playing with players that should definitely be playing. I feel like he's putting 2 or 3 of them in at the same time. Whereas I feel like if he's going to buy minutes and play them, he should only have one of those guys on the court. Like Caleb Love and Blake Wesley shouldn't be on the court together at the same time, in my opinion. And then you put Ryan Rupert in there at the same time and stuff like that. I mean, it ends up working out tonight, I guess, but you have to. I think you have to try and get away with not playing multiple ones of the into the bench guys if you're going to play any of them at all.
Yeah, I don't really understand the lineups with Blake Wesley and Caleb Love and like Young Hansen and Matisse Thybulle in it. Just offensively, there's just not enough punch in those lineups. I agree. I think they should. There shouldn't be any instances where all of Denny Avdia, Jrue Holiday, and Shaden Sharp are sitting on the bench. Now, when you play 12 guys, it's kind of hard, I guess, to always have one of those guys in the game. But yeah, like you want to try and balance your lineups with enough offense and enough defense. They certainly have enough defense in many of their lineups. So it's really just balancing having enough scoring and playmaking and facilitating on the floor. And that's something I've noticed is he's gone to some lineups where it feels like there's just not enough of that. But overall, like in a game like this, that we actually survived that lineup that I just brought up. Like, because Blake Wesley hit 2 threes and Caleb Love hit a 3 and Matisse Thybulle hit a 3 and then Duop Reith was in later and he hits 3 threes. Like, just all these end of the bench guys knocking down a bunch of threes will make it so those lineups don't look as bad. And especially when you're playing a team like Utah, who has actually looked decent to start the year. They're barely not 4-0, actually. But this is the projected last place team in the Western Conference. This is the type of team you can get away with that against. Against other teams, you probably can't. So I don't like how little Clingan played in the first half. There's a lot of question marks with rotations in this game, but they built a 22-point lead on the back of them. So, you know, it was working, right? Like, who am I to question something that's working? But, you know, against tougher teams that can stifle an offense led by Blake Wesley and Caleb Love, the Blazers might be in trouble. But they built a lead. They did a lot of good things. And a lot of these end-of-the-bench role players did good things in this game to help them build that lead, and then they just couldn't hang on to it. This should have been a 20-plus point win that we're feeling really, really good about, that I'm playing our new intro for. But this stream did not deserve our new intro because our new intro is awesome, and this game, that finish, was not awesome. That was scary. Thank goodness they took care of business, and now we can come home. They got a game against Denver, first NBA Cup game, can move to 4-2. Great opportunity for them. So, yeah, at least they took care of business.
Yeah, that Denver game's going to be tough, but I don't know. I feel like so there's 2 ways to look at it. You can look at it like guys that didn't play a ton of minutes are going to be fresher if they're not playing as many minutes, but it almost felt there were several times where I was like, man, that guy sat a long time, and then he comes back in the game and isn't in the flow when he was playing well prior to going out. And so I don't like you mentioned, Clingan sat for a long time. Sharp had several times where he sat for a long time. It felt like Tamani and Denny sat a little longer than usual. I'm not sure if the minutes bear that out. I didn't look at the box score, but it just felt like we had too many minutes with some of those guys out on the bench, and then they came back in and weren't as locked in as they were at prior points of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's kind of like work backwards here, okay? Let's work backwards. So they did a lot of great things to build that 22-point lead. We're definitely going to focus on the positives that we can take away from this game. But they did almost choke a 22-point lead. When did they have that 22-point lead? Was it in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, with under 9 minutes left, they went up 22 early in the fourth quarter, and then both teams missed several shots, and then Utah got the ball under 9 minutes, down 22, and then a few minutes later we actually bumped the lead back up to 21 at 124 to 103.
And that was
then
how much time left?
About 7 minutes left, I think, and then from there it was a disaster.
Yeah, so when you almost blow a 21-point lead with 7 minutes left against the Utah Jazz, we kind of have to focus on how that happened and how they can hopefully not replicate that, right? In previous years, this is like the type of game that maybe they find a way to lose, or maybe they never have a 21-point lead, so then they lose it because of that. But what went wrong in the final 7 to 9 minutes of this game? Like, it kind of started to remind me of the final 9 minutes of opening night against the Timberwolves, where the Blazers just have this insane lull after having good offense the entire game. So what was like the key things that allowed Utah to come back in this one?
Well, some people are going to say the officiating, which was
I agree.
there were several. I mean, there were a lot of 50-50 calls that went against Portland, I feel like, tonight. But
that weren't called for them on offense and were called for Utah on offense. That's why they had 49 free throws, Eric.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the one where Clingan got the foul on the lob to Markkanen, which the Blazers challenged. Technically, he puts his hand on him, but he doesn't push him or anything. I don't like that call at all.
See, this is the problem with the league. I really wanted to talk about this play. I'm glad you brought it up. It's like, technically it's a foul, but they let that go like 60% of the time, and then the 40% of the time they call it, it's on one side and not the other.
Yeah.
But if you challenge, it's like, technically it is a foul because there's a little touch on his waist.
But to me, a touch isn't a push. Like you can put your arm up. You're also in the post. If he pushes at all or extends his arm out at all, I totally get it. But all he did was lift his arm up, and it happened to barely touch his leg or whatever. I don't know. But I don't. You know me. I unless it's like the worst call in Blazer history in that goaltend non-call
also
in
Utah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't like to blame the refs for games, but I do feel like I don't know, I just felt like a lot of calls went against us that should balance out throughout the course of the game. And a team like Utah should not be just like dominating us in terms of free throws attempted. So that was a little weird. But this is we talked about this many times. When you play fast and the game slows down in the fourth quarter, how are you going to generate offense? And Blazers only scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. A little bit of that was boosted by the foul game at the end where Jrue Holiday gets free throws and stuff, and we're doing the free throw game back and forth. So it was even worse than 19 points, really. And so how are they going to generate offense? And this is a question I wanted to pose to you. Now, Thiago, after the game, said that he thinks they slowed it down too much or whatever, but I felt like they didn't slow down that much. I mean, obviously the game got slowed down with all the foul calls, but like during that stretch, there was that Blake Wesley transition 3 and stuff like that. Like that to me isn't slowing it down. So my question is, the Blazers build a lead and have a 22-point lead with 9 minutes left. Would you continue to play fast, knowing if you turn the ball over or you take quick shots and miss them, like the Blazers started doing, you could potentially let them back in the game very quickly, or do you start to slow it down, work your half court offense, and try to eat some time off the clock? Not necessarily playing to lose, but like you have to be under control, in my opinion. So like, what would you do if you build a big lead? Would you just continue to pound away at the fast break offense?
So the quickest way to get in a major drought, especially if you're not a great 3-point shooting team, is to start shooting a bunch of threes. I wouldn't necessarily slow things down with 9 minutes left or 7 minutes left. I'd continue to attack, but attack downhill, because that's where the Blazers are at their best. And this team is capable of going like 0 for 6 from 3. If they attack downhill 6 times in a row and just like continuously try and get to the paint, they're likely not going to go 0 for 6. And when you have that big of a lead in the fourth quarter, it's going to take like a major lull for them to get back in the game. And that's what the Blazers did. I thought it was a little too 3-point happy. If it's a good shooter, like say you attack in transition and kick out and it's a good shooter, let's say it's Tumani or Denny or Jeremy Grant, like wide open 3, I am completely fine with that shot. If it's a bad shooter, I don't want them shooting in the first half of the shot clock from 3 when you're up 20 points in the fourth quarter. Like Blake Wesley should not be shooting transition 3s. He's not a good 3-point shooter. I know he made 2 in this game, but that made him a little bit too 3-point happy. Like he made 2 start feeling himself from 3 and then bricked the final 2 or 3 that he shot. So transition 3s from him, if there's like 6 on the shot clock, you gotta get a shot up. Sure, absolutely. But like he should not be shooting 3s with 18 on the shot clock when you're up 20 plus points in the fourth quarter, especially the last game of a road trip. Like that's where you calm it down and you just try and attack downhill. You kick out to him and he doesn't have a defender in front of him. He should attack and try and dump off or attack and, just try and make the right play. Now, there was times the Blazers tried to do that and they got turnover happy. So you have to be more solid with the ball and just like not make the risky pass. But that's how you maintain a lead like that if you're Portland. The way you don't maintain it is to start having bad 3-point shooters shoot 3s. That's the most variable shot. You can be hot all night and it can go cold in an instant, especially when you have not so great shooting. So that's what I would not do. I would continue to attack, try and get downhill, make the safe play though, and then play inside out and only good shooters shooting in the first half of the shot clock.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the problem. So the Blazers give up 73 points in the first half of this game, but they're winning by 6. So like people barely notice, that the defense played like crap. And that's because we hit 14 threes. We're 14 of 29 at halftime. And 14 of 29 is on pace for the NBA record for most threes in a game by a team is 29. So you're almost halfway to the record for 3-pointers in the game. That was not going to continue. And so you can't rely on that. And, you could have a hot game shooting, I guess, throughout the whole game. But more likely than not, you're going to regress back to somewhat normal numbers. And they still shoot, 21 of 55 is still, 38%. It's still a good. Oh, you just put it up. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm fixing things right now.
So you still shoot 38% from 3s. So that's going to win you a lot of games for this particular team if you can shoot 38% from 3. And 85% from the line is good until you look at getting 22 less than your opponent. But why did Brody, Jay, and chat say we lost Eric? What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means. Anyways, when it's almost 50% at halftime, though, and you go down to 38.2, that means you went pretty cold in the second half. 7 of 26?
Yeah.
So that's 30% or something.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is this team is living and dying by the 3, and they're not good enough shooters to do that. But when they hit the 3s, they're obviously going to look amazing because they have the defense that can get stops, and then they have And if they're making 3-point shots on top of that, I mean, the second quarter of this game, the offense looked about as good as an offense could look because we were hitting threes. And, a lot of people get open threes in this offense because they're not well respected. But then when you go into the fourth quarter and defenses start to tighten up, the game starts to tighten up, you start to lose the lead and the pressure starts to mount, and then you're starting to grip a little bit and you start missing threes. That's when, once again, I feel like you need some sort of offensive set or system that can generate a downhill basket or some sort of rim pressure on an attack. And I don't feel like we have enough of that right now. I still feel like that's a work in progress.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with them shooting 55 threes when they're making 21 of them. Like on the surface, right? 38% from three, like that's efficient enough to shoot 55 of them. Now, 60% of their shots were threes. That's kind of wild. Maybe that partly explains the free throw disparity, but you have to be situational. Like there has to be a level of situational awareness. And you can sit here and be like, they shot 38% from three. It's completely fine that they shot 55 threes. They made 21. Why would you have a problem with 3-point shooting? If it was a close game and you're still shooting threes because you're shooting them well tonight in the fourth quarter, sure, fine. But when you're up 22 in the fourth, that's when you dial things back a little bit, attack downhill, because you can go cold from three in an instant. And if you just keep chucking threes, especially with not a great 3-point shooting team, that's the recipe for having a drought. All right, so there's a level of situational awareness there that I would want them to have, where it's not just like, we got the lead this way, so we can just keep playing the same exact way. Because more often than not, this team is not going to have a 55% 3-point shooting night and make 25 or 26 threes or whatever they were on pace for. I think they had 14 at halftime. So, they weren't going to challenge NBA records from 3-point makes, more likely than not, right? More likely... You're hot the entire game. Yeah, more likely you're hot the entire game. You get cold at the end, that especially this Blazer team. So that's where it's just like having the situational awareness. Like they played a way in the fourth quarter to allow Utah back in the game. Credit to Utah, they played hard, especially in the fourth quarter. They didn't give up. They could have given up, but they competed. They got themselves back in the game. Other teams would have folded. So props to them for fighting back and making this a game. But Portland has to be a little bit better in the fourth quarter when they have a lead or have control of the game. Like continuing to control the game instead of just getting 3-point happy and turnover happy and trying to force tough passes and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's the comeback, okay? That's the what happened there. Do you have anything else you want to state on the fourth quarter before we start talking about the good stuff, which was the second and third?
Well, I was looking at the play-by-play, and we have, so once we went up 22, we have a Donovan Clingan missed 3-point shot, a Shaden Sharp missed 3-point shot, Shaden Sharp turnover, Blake Wesley missed 3-point shot. Then Jeremy Grant got 2 free throws. Denny turnover. Uprise missed 3-point shot. Jeremy Grant missed 3-point shot. So I'm just going down it, right? Jrue Holiday missed 3-point shot.
Yep.
Tamani Kamara missed 3-point shot.
Yep.
That's all we're doing is shooting threes. I want to say the free throws Jeremy got were like an off-ball foul that we were already in the penalty or something. I don't remember if that was a shooting foul or not, but and then it goes down until Tamani hit that 3 at the top of the key. I just feel like we just settled for way too many 3-point shots. And they were not falling, and we're not a good enough 3-point shooting team. I mean, we can hit them. Obviously, we showed that in the first half, but I don't think we have the personnel to just continue to bomb threes. And I don't think when you're up 22, that's like the best strategy either.
Yeah, it's not. The recipe for a comeback is going cold from three and continuing to shoot a bunch of threes and turning the ball over and letting them run out the other way, and having refs that are kind of ridiculous
Right.
and not in your favor
Not getting
at all.
any calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So those three things, the Blazers survived it, but those three things are the recipe for what happened with almost blowing this lead. Yeah.
well, Gregory says if you commit to that style, you don't keep playing that way until the last 4 minutes. Question. Well, see, I disagree that the style has to be to just chuck threes. Like playing fast doesn't mean you chuck threes. Playing fast should get you a bunch of rim opportunities as well. So it should be a mix of getting downhill, getting to the rim, getting the defense off balance, and then you can shoot some kick out threes, but you should also be getting easy baskets when you run. Otherwise, you should just slow the game way down and try to run out the shot clock. They actually had like 2 shot clock violations in a row, so not that slow. But that's where I feel like when it goes to the half court, I still don't like the type of shots they're getting or the type of stagnation they have, because I just don't think there's enough movement yet.
See, this is the beauty about a game like this, though. It's a great learning experience. You had maybe your worst quarter of the season and you still won.
Yeah.
Right? So you can take away this as a learning experience, especially with the way you played. It's not like they have Steph Curry and he hit 5 straight 30-foot contested threes where it's like, what can you do? You just throw your hands up and tip your hat, good shots, right? It's like you played a style that allowed this. How do you learn from that, move forward from that? You got the win, but also there's stuff to learn from this. And that's the beautiful thing of winning a game like this, is everybody can feel good about the win, good end to the road trip. You went 2-1 on the road trip. We're competitive in the game you lost. But there's also, they're going home with stuff to gain from this, like stuff to improve upon from this. So hopefully it's not just like, this play style was working. We're making threes. So, of course, in the fourth quarter, up 22, we're just going to bomb threes and play fast. Hopefully there's something that they take out of this going into the homestand they have coming up.
And hopefully Thiago starts to learn from some of these games. Like, we have to remember he got thrown into the fire after one game into the season. He's only been here a couple months. So, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. You just got to hope that as the season goes on, games like this he learns from and does it. The next time Blazers start to blow a lead or whatever, maybe they make a different adjustment and that helps them.
Yep. So now let's talk about the good things that helped them build this lead. Eric, what, in your opinion, were the things that allowed Portland to get out to a 22-point lead?
Well, obviously hitting 14 to 29 threes is insane, and that really helped a lot. It felt like, if you go back to the beginning of this game, it felt like there was a lid on the basket, but Clingan and Kamara were getting like every offensive rebound, and we had multiple chances. And then Clingan finally made a putback lay-in. But it seemed like it was going to be one of those nights where it was going to be tough. And then all of a sudden, the guys just get insanely hot. You have Duop come in and hit 3 threes in the second quarter. Sharp finally hit some threes. He hit 3 in a row at one point. Jeremy came in and hit a few threes.
I do want to say this real quick about Jeremy's. This is why I like having him off the bench, because they couldn't buy a bucket to start the game, and he came in and immediately hit 2 threes. They were down 13-4 and immediately made it a tied game again, basically. So that spark off the bench when the starters don't have it going is huge.
Yep. And the Blazers I feel like have been in most games getting down like 9 or points or so every first quarter. So that definitely is something they need to adjust, figure out a way to get their offense going a little earlier. Obviously Sharp struggles have a lot to do with that. But I felt like they it was weird because, like I said, Utah scored 73 points, but I still feel like the Blazers did a great job of using their defense to generate points, and they were pestering Utah, and they were making every basket tough. And so Utah still scored a bunch, but I felt like they were still generating enough turnovers. And unlike a game, I think it was the Clippers game where we had we generated a ton of turnovers, but only had like 9 fast break points or something like that. Um, this game, it felt like we were getting the ball up the court. We were getting shooters to the corners. We were getting people in the right position. And then there was a couple plays, one in particular where Blake Wesley faked like he was going to pull it out, hesitated, and then drove to the hoop and got an easy bucket. Jrue had a nice fake out where everyone thought he was going to kick it out and had an easy lay-in. So we started to get some easy baskets, and then the pushing of the pace and the turnovers got us a lot of open threes. And I think obviously they made them in the first half. So I think it was just they were a lot more opportunistic with their stops, even though they weren't getting a ton of stops when they did. It seemed like the momentum and the style of play and stuff was very in favor of what the Blazers wanted to do, and Utah was trying very hard to keep up. And it looked like it was going to be the case where like Utah was going to eventually wilter and not be able to sustain the pace that the Blazers were playing at. And it looked that way until 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which we talked about. So yeah, I don't know how you sustain that so that doesn't happen, but it just felt like we got Utah into playing our style, and they stayed in the game. They made shots when they had to, I guess, and then they also got several foul shots opportunities from the refs. But I think the Blazers just did a good job of capitalizing on the turnovers, which they had in recent games.
Yeah, so I'll say this about their defense. I have not been particularly impressed with their half-court defense this year. They've given up a lot of points when they have to defend the half-court. When they're turning the ball over, like, that's great. But when they're not turning over the ball, the defense doesn't quite look elite, which was my hope, right? But it's also this thing where it starts to seem like even if it seemed like Utah was ready for the pressure today coming into this game. Like the first half, they did a really good job taking care of the ball, not making a bunch of like crappy turnovers. The Blazers got hot from three, right? And there was a couple of bad moments there in the second quarter, but the Blazers had the first 4 turnovers of this game. They committed the first 4 turnovers, right? And it just seemed like Utah was prepared for the style of play. And I was worrying about this game, like, man, if they're just ready to deal with the pressure defense and they're not going to turn over the ball a lot, especially with the way they were scoring in the first half, like, this could be a game that Portland loses. And then all of a sudden in the third quarter, like, they finally wilted and started having all these terrible turnovers, like inbound passes, just throwing it to Blazer players and backcourt turnovers and just all these crazy turnovers. And it was just like, damn. Maybe this style of play is just inevitable in terms of forcing the other team into turnovers. Now, it's Utah, so they're a young, inexperienced, bad team. Maybe they're a little better than we thought. I don't know. But it kind of felt like in that third quarter, like, man, all right, well, it seemed like they were ready, and at this point, it doesn't matter. Like, the Blazers' style of play has finally worn them down to the point where they're starting to make all these mistakes, and the Blazers' defense is getting confident, and it's like a snowball effect. You know what I mean? It's like an avalanche, right? You held it back the first half, third quarter, the floodgates open, and here comes the Blazers turnover, forcing defense, wrecking havoc on the Utah Jazz. And that was a big reason why they built that 22-point lead. So I think something with this style of play for Portland, we're going to have to see it against like good teams like Denver, you know. If teams are prepared for it, can Portland still, at some point in the game, go on a big run because they start to force turnovers even if a team is prepared, where the Blazers' pressure is just so relentless, picking up full court all game long, that it's just really hard to have a clean game if you're the other team, and it's really hard to not have a stretch where you get a little bit sloppy against it. We saw the Clippers. They're a veteran team, right? The Blazers went on that 23-2 run in that second quarter where they were forcing all these turnovers. Like, it feels like every game there's a point where the Blazers start forcing multiple turnovers in a short period of time and going on a run because of it. Is that something they can do every single game, even against good teams that are coming into games prepared to be picked up full court, prepared to be pressured like this? We'll have to wait and see, because without these runs, the defense isn't particularly impressive. I don't know what the half-court stats are. Like, I'm not saying the half-court defense is bad by any means, but we have high standards for this defense. We think this defense should be elite this year. And when they're forcing turnovers, they're probably the best defense in the league. And they are the best defense at forcing turnovers. I talked about it in the video I dropped last night. But what happens if a team's prepared and you don't have this avalanche of turnovers where they're throwing inbound passes to the wrong guys and having these bad backcourt turnovers, etc.? Like, can you still have a good defensive night? Because right now it kind of feels like the Blazers need these stretches to have good defensive nights, and otherwise, you're not having great defensive nights. I mean, the Blazers forced turnovers in this game, had that run in the third quarter. They still gave up 134 points to the Utah Jazz in regulation. So that's a theme to look out for the next, 10, 15 games, for me at least.
Yeah. And another thing, I felt like this was their worst defensive rebounding game of the season. They gave up 16 offensive rebounds. They get 14 themselves, but it feels like a lot of those were early in this game. And so I felt like that was another thing that happened. They're over aggressive on the perimeter, and that does lead to a lot of standing around and watching as the shot goes up and not hustling back to the basket to try and chase down a rebound. And it often leaves someone for an easy dive to the ball from the backside on a rebound. And so that I feel like they need to do a better job of rebounding. And tonight, they didn't really go small a lot either. So that's kind of puzzling, because they played Dwap a little bit. They played Young his 3 minutes. They played Clingan, 28 minutes. And then, they only had, about 5 minutes without a center in the game. So it wasn't that they didn't have a center. So I felt like they didn't do a great job of defensive rebounding this game. Especially in that third quarter, I felt like they started to not, in the second half, they started to not rebound as well.
Yeah, well, I think part of it's matchup. I think this is a hard team to go small against when you start 6'11", 7 foot. And Lauri's their small forward, and he's a 7-footer. So, which is just crazy, right? And then Walker Kessler, I mean, they said 7 foot on the broadcast. Isn't he 7'1", 7'2"? He's very big. So, if this was a small team out rebounding the Blazers when the Blazers were big, I'd have a problem with it. I think, when you have, Matisse Thybulle playing some three and some three guard, they did play some 3-guard lineups in this game. And when you have an opposing small forward that's 6'11", it's tough to keep them off the boards. So I think that's something for this Utah team, is a similar recipe to the Blazers last year and this year, right? You don't have the best team. You don't have the best offense, at least. So you're going to miss a lot of shots. They, in my opinion, should be a top 5 offensive rebounding team in the league, and just in terms of offensive rebounds per game. Their offense has been decent this year. I mean, it's still early in the season. Who knows how good this Jazz team could be. We've seen teams that are expected to be last in a conference surprise everybody, and the Jazz lost by 2 tonight to the Blazers, and their other loss, I believe, was by 1 to the Kings. If I recall correctly.
4-0,
Yeah, so they are 3 points away. Well, I guess, you can't tie, but, they lost by 2 and lost by 1, and they're 2-2 on the season. So maybe they should be 4-0. Although this should have been much more than a 2-point loss. So, yeah, the defensive rebounding was a bit frustrating because like Portland's recipe is forcing a bunch of turnovers and getting a bunch of offensive rebounds, and at the end of the day, you're just going to have a lot more shot attempts. And if you can shoot well enough, then you're going to win the game, right? Because the game's all about making more shots, scoring more points than the other team. So that's the formula for the Blazers. When they're not winning the turnover battle or winning the offensive rebounding battle, then things get a lot tougher.
Yeah, and I felt like at the beginning of this game, like I mentioned, I was like, oh man, Clingan is just dominating. And I felt like that was going to be the case. And Clingan had a great game through 3 quarters. I felt like his fourth quarter was really rough tonight. I don't know if it was just the tempo and stuff, but I felt like he kind of faltered there in the fourth quarter. But I thought he was fantastic the first 3 quarters. It's tough.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's break down players from this game. Uh, let's break down some players. By the way, I will try and take some questions from chat at some point this stream. I know we haven't talked a whole lot to chat this year, so we will do some mailbag stuff. We're dropping the off day videos too, so I might do a little mini mailbag in there for like half the episodes. We'll see. But I know you guys have been enjoying those videos, which I'm glad because I thought you guys would. So let's do a player of the game poll. I think I know who's going to win this poll.
I think it's pretty easy.
But you know, I always give the people a chance to vote because this is a democracy, right? You know, I'm not just going to impose my own pick, right? This is chat's pick for player of the game. So I'm going to set you guys up with a player of the game chat poll. You guys can vote. And we will keep tallies on this. I just haven't built the graphic for it yet. And then we'll talk about it. Real quick on the other side of things, when I previewed this game, I said Keontae George, he's a bit, you know, could be a bit turnover prone. He's a little bit more of a combo, although he's been passing the ball like a point guard this year. The Blazers did force 6 turnovers from him, so that was one of my keys that they succeeded with, so that was good. Walter Clayton Jr. didn't play much or do much off the bench, but, you know, they don't really have a ton of ball handling. Yusuf Nurkic was bringing up the ball a lot of times when the Blazers were not letting them inbound to the point guard. So, Blazers did a good job of that. But for the player of the game poll, we have Jrue Holiday. We have Denny Avdia. We have Tamani Kabara. If Duop had a few more points, I'd give him an honorary appearance in the poll. But we'll do Shaden Sharp.
Blake Wesley, maybe.
Yeah, I mean Blake had
10 points and a bunch of great defensive play.
Yeah, he had himself a solid little game. Ryan Rupert was a plus 13 team high. There's so many players to talk about today. Matisse Thybulle leaves with a finger injury. I guess when you're going for steals and get so many deflections, you're going to be prone to jamming fingers or spraining fingers or whatever it was. So that's a very Thybulle type of injury, in my opinion, with all the deflections he gets.
Yeah. And hopefully it's just, they said it was just a sore thumb. Hopefully it's not broken. Broken thumb, looked it up, said usually 4 to 8 weeks. Hopefully it's just a mild jam.
Yeah. He's been banged up to start the year, was injured almost all last year. He's very injury prone, so knockdown is only 3 though, which was cool to see. Hopefully he's fine. Shout out to Blaze 4825 $5 donation says Providence needed those bills paid because Portland played like the Seahawks. Both teams were giving their fans heart attacks. Yeah, that's they were playing like the Seahawks, man, trying to blow leads. Also playing like the Mariners trying to blow leads because that's something the Mariners will mess around and do from time to time. We don't like that. But we like winning. Thank you for the donation. We like donations as well, so we appreciate it. All right. I'll leave this player of the game poll going just to see how high of a percentage Jrue Holiday gets. Maybe we keep track of percentage as well. Although I don't remember the percentages from previous games. Like who has the
Brevin?
Trevin. Where's Trevin's in here? Trevin, get me the player of the game winners from the first 4 games in a spreadsheet with the percentages they won by, please. I know you can do that in like 5 seconds. You probably already have all this information. If you guys don't know Trevin, he's our mod. He's a robot. Because Jrue might get over 90% of the vote in this one. He's been absolutely phenomenal, Eric. 27 points tonight, 8 assists, 5 boards. Let me pull up the box score so I can get you field goal shooting. He was 10 for 16 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, meaning he was 7 for 8 inside the arc, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Did have 4 turnovers, but 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Stellar defense. He has been awesome. He was averaging 18 and 8 going into this game on like good efficiency, 38% from 3, 48% from the field. And then he has this type of game. He's playing like an all-star. Like he's literally playing like an all-star. Because after this game, he's probably averaging 20 and 8 on great efficiency, like probably 50% from the field, 40% from 3, if my math's correct. Or not 40%, like 38% from 3. With elite defense, that's all-star caliber impact. He has been phenomenal his first 5 games in a Blazer uniform. He has had such a tremendous impact in these games. And I'll also say this, it's nice having a guy with championship experience who's won multiple championships at the free throw line late in the game, where this game is like nothing to him. He's played in so many huge games that like, oh, close game, we're trying not to blow a 20-point lead in crunch time, like, ho-hum, and he knocks down all 4 of his free throws. And that's why the Blazers were able to hang on. If that's other guys on this team, I don't want to know what would have happened in this game. So it was nice having him at the line, hitting clutch free throws down the stretch. He has been awesome. I was somebody that like kind of understood the Anthony for Jrue trade. I know a lot of people like didn't really, they questioned it, and deservedly so. I think on paper, there was definitely some big question marks there, but I kind of understood what the organization was going for. Even I didn't think Jrue Holiday would look this good his first 5 games of Blazer uniform, being 36 years of age. But he has looked awesome. So I'm loving watching this guy play in a Blazer uniform.
Yeah, it wasn't even the end of the game, but there were several points where I was like, man, it's nice to have a guy like Jrue Holiday who just stays composed. He knows what to do. He never gets like taken out of the game by the refs or the other team doesn't phase him what they're doing. And it seems like whenever we've needed a play so far this season, he's provided that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if he could just like go one-on-one ISO every time to get like a clutch basket, but it does feel like he just like is such a good influence on like the whole lineup that he plays with. And I think it's really nice having him out there. And I feel like he's just at a point in his career where he's just like the game like comes really easy to him. And that could change as he ages a little bit, but I just feel like he's seeing the court so well right now, and he's making all the plays, and we talked about this when he was traded here about like, oh man, he's not going to be happy coming to Portland after playing on championship contenders the last couple of years. But I really do feel like at this point of his career, having a role like this is a really good opportunity for him as well, just to kind of prove that he can lead a team and stuff like that. And he's totally dominating in that role, in my opinion. Like he's been great, and we're really really lucky to have him, as Andler says in chat, true professional. And he's a pro, man. He just gets it done on the court, and he does it. There's no like fancy like glitter to his game. He just gets a bucket when you need one, and he just you know, makes a good pass and he plays good defense and man, when you go into these games with players like that on your roster, it just makes the whole game easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like he helps solidify the identity of this team on the defensive end, and then with the offense that they're trying to run, he fits in really, really well. So, um, made some huge plays, made some huge shots. There's worries about his jumper coming in. Like, oh no, we lose Anthony Simons shooting. Well, I don't know how many threes he's shooting a night. It's probably a little bit lower than Simons, but he's shooting a similar percentage, and he's hitting some tough ones too. So I think there was some valid concern about the shooting drop off, moving on from Simons and bringing in Jrue Holiday, considering he was a 35% 3-point shooter last year on some wide open threes. So far, the returns have been completely fine behind the arc. Like, he's arguably the Blazers' best shooter right now. Denny's been pretty solid. Was a little rough from three tonight, but Jrue has been fantastic. And Denny's been great. You could make the argument that Jrue has had just as much of an impact on this team being competitive the first 5 games of the season as Denny has had. It's definitely between those two.
Candy out of timeout. Hey, we have a Mubsy donation.
Shout out to Mubsy Hoops. Where's the Mubsy donation? Let me go to it. $10 Canadian donation. Thank you, Mubsy. Says less turnovers from Sharp. Love to see that, man. Yeah, he took better care of the ball tonight. I mean, he didn't really pass, so but he wasn't making passing turnovers. He was making ball handling turnovers. This was an interesting game from Sharp. It was a different game. He was actually decently efficient. He was 4 for 8 from 3. So that was nice. He was 2 for 6 inside the arc. Only got to the line 2 times. He only played 24 minutes because he had 4 fouls. Like, this was a good game to see Sharp knock down 3-point shots. The other stuff still wasn't really there. Like, the one turnover he did have, he was doubled in the quarter and had an easy outlet pass to Clingan, who was wide open at the 3-point line, and he, like, dribbled the ball 3 times in a double team and, like, dribbled it out of bounds. And it was like, dude, just get rid of the ball. Just make the simple play. Make the simple play. But it was good to see him get going with that jump shot for sure, going 4 for 8 from 3. Thank you, Mubsy, for the donation.
Yeah. He hit that one in the second half where, well, he got kicked out the play before this and wide open, passes it up. He hit someone in the corner. I mean, they were open too, but it was just weird to see him pass up that shot. And then he gets the ball back again, open at the top of the key, passes up the shot, then does a sidestep 3 and hits it. And you're like, okay, like I still don't like that shot, but at least it went in finally.
Yeah, it went in tonight.
And then he had one of his threes was a transition 3. He just pulls up with a guy coming from his right on him, and he hits that. So
see, I was fine with that. That to me was a heat check. You made 2 in a row, like
yeah. But then he gets taken out of the game. So,
yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but Garmin said that Thiago said he wasn't feeling good either. And that's
is that why he shot well from 3? He wasn't feeling good? Wasn't feeling like himself? No, I'm kidding. Hopefully
he's the only one in chat that said that. I haven't heard that anywhere else. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but
if that's true, I hope he feels better. Props to him for playing through it. If that's true, we don't know whether to believe our sources in chat. But
yeah, I mean, at least you didn't have a 0 assist, like 4 turnover game. So
yeah, true.
That's good. Yeah, and then I don't know. I felt like that last play of the Blazers where they actually tried to score instead of playing the foul game. I felt like it's good to have him be aggressive and get to the hoop. He's just not finishing very well like he was last year. And today it gets blocked by Kessler, but I mean, at least he tried to be aggressive on that play. Didn't settle for a bad shot. He also had one in the first half where he split like 3 guys, made an awesome move to get to the hoop. Ended up being pretty open for a lay-in going right at the backboard and just threw it off long. And man, I don't know how he's missing some of those. So hopefully that, I mean, I think at this point to expect what he did last year around the rim is probably a little unrealistic, but it's also not as bad as he's been this year. So hopefully it evens out at some point or it gets a little bit closer to last year, because I think he'd be fine if he gets that to happen and then just takes a little bit better shot quality threes.
Yeah. I think as disappointing of anything this year is the playmaking, like the lack of playmaking so far for others. We talked about this offseason where he had playmaking flashes. Last year averaged 2.8 assists per game, the year before 2.9, right? Like flashes, so if he gets more usage and more responsibility within the offense, does that playmaking take a jump and become more consistent? And there's a lot of people that believed so, and I think I pumped the brakes on that a little bit. Like, we have to see it more consistently, and we have to see him, like, make more advanced reads, because the reads that he makes are relatively simple reads. Like, you don't see him throw super impressive passes too often. The most impressive pass you'll see is, like, a kick-out pass on a drive. But, like, he's not looking guys off, running the pick and roll, and then skipping across the court to an open corner shooter that he looked his defender off with his eyes and read the guy helping onto the roll, man. You don't really see stuff like that out of him. So that's been the disappointing thing so far, is just the lack of playmaking.
In my opinion, he has shown that when he was the lead ball handler, that 10-game sample size at the end of his rookie year, and then a couple of random games. I have seen those passing flashes where he does make a high IQ read or whatever. And then with Scoop being out this year, I thought for sure we'd see him kind of take over that role a little bit more than he has, instead of just being in a situation where he's just mostly shooting. I don't know. It is weird that he isn't playmaking at all for others.
Yeah, because he has the ball in his hands enough. Like, he had a game. He shot 24 times in 32 minutes. And a lot of these, he's pump faking and then, like, putting the ball on the floor once, or you know what I mean. It's not all just like him off ball. He has the ball in his hands a lot, and there's just certain plays where he's just missing guys right now. Like, he shot a shot in this game where he, like, did the little half spin and spun back to the fadeaway, and he had Denny Avdia at the top of the arc with nobody within, like, 7 feet of him. And it was just like, dude, just make the simple pass. Don't take the hard fadeaway long two. Make the simple play. But you could tell when he makes that move, Eric, like, he's not reading the floor. He's like, I'm going to make this move and I'm going to get the shot off no matter what. Like, he predetermines that instead of just reading what's there. So, if you make that shot 50+% of the time, okay, like, fine, predetermine that move and score 50+% of the time. I want to see him consistently reading the floor, and consistently, like, playing within the flow of the offense, picking his shots. I think he did a better job tonight. It helped that he made more threes, I guess. I mean, he shot 8 threes of his 14 attempts, but it's just, want to see him, like, looking for his teammates a little bit more right now. He's getting blocked at the rim a lot too. Like, very end of regulation, he got blocked at the rim, or maybe it wasn't the last
play.
play.
Play I was talking about.
Yeah,
it was the last play, like, before the free throw.
Yeah. I think he should go to the floater a little bit more. He can get so freaking high on it. Like, he can shoot it from 5 feet out. He had one of those on opening night, right at the start of the game against Minnesota. And it was like, ooh, all right, if he adds that to his bag consistently, right? And then he's had a lot of plays where it's like, I like him trying to dunk on people, but you have to know when you can and when you should hit that little 5-foot floater. Because he should be able to hit that 5-foot floater like 67% of the time with how high he can get, especially if he gets in the air quick. Like, he's not going to get blocked on that as much as he is just trying to challenge 7-footers all the time that are just parked underneath the rim and ready for him.
The other thing he needs to do is develop like a Brandon Royale every time he drives. Like
I have heard
try
him do it. I have heard him do it. He
for
does
those
he does have a little bit of a yell. Yeah.
that don't know, Roy started like yelling every time he like would go into a defender, and it helped him get like more foul calls and stuff. So um, yeah, maybe he needs to do something, maybe accentuate some contact sometimes,
Yeah.
do something because he's not getting any calls, and you can always tell like he feels like he's getting fouled, but yeah,
Yeah. It was good to see him knock down threes though. Denny Avdia struggled from the 3-point line, was 0 for 5. Still had 19 points on 12 shots.
ruined his 20-point streak though.
Yeah, but like, is this? Does that mean this is his worst game of the season, where he scores 19 points, has 9 rebounds, and 5 assists on 50% from the field, and gets the line 10 times? If that's his worst game so far. That's a pretty good worst game.
Yeah,
It's just nice. Like he's not 3-point reliant to have a great game. He goes 6, 4, 7 inside the arc and gets the line 10 times. He did have 6 turnovers, but outside the turnovers, every time he drove it, good things happened, right? Would like to see him take a little bit better care of the ball. 6 turnovers is a little high. He talked about that going into this year, taking better care of the ball. But overall, like, very, very solid game from him. He continues to play very, very well.
yeah. I just want to get to a point where we're not saying everything but the turnovers. Some of those turnovers are pretty bad that he's had, and so he's got to find a way to limit those a little bit while also still playing aggressive. Um, but other than that, yeah, I mean, another good game. I mean, he didn't hit the three like he had been the last couple games, but um, he's been pretty consistent outside of the first and now the last game. The other 3 games, he was good shooting the three. So hopefully that's not something that's going to happen very often where he goes over from there. But yeah, I felt like when he was aggressive and got to the rim, um, good things happen.
Yep. Um, let's see here. Tamani finally does some stuff offensively. 17 points, has 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Really impressed with some of the cuts he made in this game. There was the pass from Duop to him. That was a great cut. I think that was an emphasis in the Blazers' new offense. I talked about that in the preseason, where like guy drives and you cut over the top when your defender's not looking, and it's just a dump off pass back to him. Great pass by Duop, by the way. To see a big man, make that read and make that pass as cleanly as he did was pretty impressive. And he also had that baseline cut. I believe they played up at the level of the screen and Clingan rolled, and so there was a third help defender that stepped up to Clingan. Clingan caught the ball and immediately made a really nice pass to Tamani for the baseline cut for dunk. And you know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of prime Yusuf Nurkic to Mo Harkless when the Blazers started to figure out how to beat the trap, and Nurkic had some good passing years where Nurkic in the short roll and then Harkless cutting baseline and just taking advantage of the attention given to Dame at the top of the pick and roll. Clingan will be able to make that pass more often than not. Like, Klingan's not going to have huge assist games. I also messed up the assist for him in the box score. He had 4 assists. 4 assists for Clingan, 5 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. I'm working on getting these box scores coded so that I don't have human error. But yeah, 4 assists for Clingan, and that was a nice one to Tamani, cutting baseline. I really like that play specifically, just because when Dame's back next year, teams are going to defend him like that. Having Clingan that can hit Kamara, who's always making those cuts, and he's making these cuts like quickly too, so he's not giving the defense a chance to account for him. Really impressive, and then nice to see him shoot well from 3. He was 3 for 8 today, which is better than he had been shooting.
Yeah, his 3-point shot still doesn't look right to me. It looked really good preseason.
Is that just a product of it looks right when it's going in and wrong when it's not, or?
I feel like I don't. It's like I don't know. It felt really smooth and comfortable in preseason, um, and then it feels like he's like in his head about keeping his elbow in or something because his arms seem like really close together when he's shooting.
That's kind of always been the way he shoots, even in
Yeah,
the preseason. I felt like it was that way.
I felt like he had a little bit more space between them, and it just looked a little bit more smoother. But yeah, it might just be a case of it's going in or not. But like even the one that went in, the ones that went in tonight, I didn't feel like were particularly like smooth shots.
Yeah, I'd have to see the footage of him shooting in the preseason again.
Yeah,
I think some of it just might be confidence, where like he was going like straight up into a shot, where you could tell even the shots he shot and made today. Like I don't know, yeah, there's a little difference in the way the shot looks when somebody's shooting it like with 100% extreme confidence, and when they've been in a slump. So they're maybe a little more hesitant still shooting the ball though. Like I don't really know how else to explain it, but sometimes you can kind of see the difference. Um, but hopefully this sparks him because we need him to make threes, especially going against a good opponent on Friday.
there was also a play where he got the ball in the bottom corner. Good closeout. He then drives instead of shooting, and there was no one else in the paint. And I feel like he's got length to get to the hoop in that situation, or at least get fouled or whatever. And he ends up like kind of running past the hoop and shooting a little hook shot, but it was like falling away um, to the far side. And I feel like he's got to find a way to use his size to get a non fadeaway shot in that moment when you have a step on your defender and you're going towards the hoop. You shouldn't take that bad of a shot, and didn't come close to going in. So that is one thing. And then I noticed right after that he got taken out, and I think he put Denny back in to like because he knows Denny's going to finish those if he gets that head of steam to the basket. So he does have to find a way to do because I feel like if he just had that in his game right now, he'd be really deadly. It just like shoot your three when you're open, and when the guy closes out hard, you just go by him, and it feels like he should be able to use his long arms to finish around the basket, but he doesn't really do a good job of utilizing them.
Yeah. Yep. Um, Clingan, we just talked about his passing. He only has 7 rebounds in this game, but like his activity on the offensive glass gets the Blazers a lot of offensive boards, like ball going out of bounds or him drawing a foul on Filipowski or just multiple guys having to worry about trying to box him out so somebody else is able to grab a board. There's just so many instances where he's just causing havoc on the offensive glass, and I really, really enjoy that. Now, the three-point shot the past couple nights after starting hot the first 3 games hasn't fallen. I still don't really hate him taking a couple threes a game when he's wide open. And here's the thing, like he's missed a couple. He had another opportunity to shoot an open one and he passed it off. Like that's how he should approach shooting 3-point shots, like first couple open ones in a game, let it fly, if they fall then okay, keep shooting. If they don't, then just move the ball along. And I really like that he kind of has that mindset.
Hmm. Well, he has that mindset even if he makes one of his first two, like last game. Um, I think it was Adam Smith. Adam Smith asked if he's missing left, right, or long, short. I feel like they're all on target. They're just like a little short or a little long sometimes.
Yeah,
But
I feel like he's missed the left a little bit as well.
yeah, I feel like Tamani was missing left. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're almost always have a chance to go in at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, they're all close enough where that's why I'm fine with him shooting a couple open ones a game.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need a legitimate sample size of him shooting to see where he's at as a shooter. We're not really gonna know off of 5 games. So he seems like a good enough shooter that it justifies him shooting enough attempts just to see where he's at long term. Like, can he shoot 32, 33% on volume? If so, that's honestly pretty good development. And you hope that next year then he could shoot 35, 36% and be a true floor spacer. Let me take a couple of donations real quick. Shout out to Undead Beavis with a $2 donation. No message on it. So, Beavis, if you had a message on it, feel free to leave it in the chat. Appreciate the donation. Shout out to Rip City Baby. $2 donation says Jrue Holiday. Yes, Jrue Holiday. He's on you like glue. Thank you for the donation. And then shout out to Suns Valley Podcast, member for 35 months. Man, how the tables have turned. He says, what's it like to be a winner? I don't know, man. Being 3-2, like, I feel like we're ready to win a championship. You know, it's pretty great to be 3-2 after almost blowing a 22-point lead to the Jazz, but still winning somehow. Did the Suns win tonight or did they lose?
They must have lost, right?
I don't know. It's on the bottom ticker. It'll pop up at some point. Shout out to Muvsy, by the way, for helping me with the bottom ticker tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they won or lost. But thank you, Gabe, for being a winner by being a channel member. All right? Appreciate that. And I know tonight was supposed to be a members' night. There's too much going on. We'll have a members' night soon. Maybe we'll do it on Friday. Friday will also be a Halloween night, so I have to figure out what I'm going to wear for that stream tomorrow.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday night's going to be a Halloween night. I have to figure out what I'm going
tomorrow.
to...
Oh,
no, tomorrow. I'm going to figure it out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to figure it out tomorrow what I'm going to wear for Friday's stream. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then picks against the spread starting on Friday is the current plan.
By the way, Blazers are on pace for 49 wins right now.
Is that we need to try and win 54% of our games is all I know. Damn, Phoenix lost by 1 after losing in overtime to Utah. That's brutal, man. That's brutal. Poor Gabe, man. Man, if things changed. It's crazy. What are you going to say? You're about to say something. And you're holding back. I can tell. I can read it on your face.
I can't remember exactly what the stat was, but it was something like if the Mariners would have won that game 7,
yeah,
they would have won 54% of their games or something.
And they lost, so they won just under? Yeah.
Yeah, just under.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, dig the knife in, but...
No, I mean, the knife's already in.
That's
anyway.
all they need to do is win that 54%.
I'm still in pain, especially if Toronto wins it all. They're up 3-2. God, dude.
Yeah, Toronto.
Go Dodgers.
I can't believe they won the last 2 after that 18-inning game.
I know. I'm rooting for the Dodgers, by the way. I don't want to see the Blue Jays win. Yeah, it's funny how much easier YouTube is to do when your team's winning, you know? It's so much easier to cover a winning team. This is why all the people that are like, Blazers Uprise guys, they criticize the team for negativity because negativity gets clicks. And it's like, dude, we wish we were winning games. It's actually much better for the channel when we're winning games, and I'm much more excited to make content and do off-day videos. If this team didn't have higher expectations this year and more excitement around it, I would not be doing a video every off day, but I'm going to do one again tomorrow because I'm enjoying it. And you guys are watching it because you guys are also excited about the freaking basketball team. So, you know, that's it's a good thing to have, man. And it's always tough when things are down. So my condolences go out to Gabe. We'll be on his live stream on the 18th for the first NBC game.
By the way, for those that think this way, we did not want them to blow this game so we could be negative. we would have much preferred to them to look awesome this whole game and cruise to an easy victory after scoring the second most in franchise history points through 3 quarters. It was crazy.
Yeah, I had the intro video like song by Muzzy. It's edited into an intro video. A couple people have seen it. It's super sick, actually. And I was ready to play it. Well, not ready to play. I still need to set it up. But then I had to find my headphones. But also I was like, this is like the lowest win you could have, almost blowing a 22-point lead against the Utah Jazz in the final 9 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't deserve a hype intro. You know, once I start playing, I'll play it every stream. But I'll play it on Friday for sure. Win or loss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually have it now. And I should have time to set it up, man. I'm a very, very busy person, though. Is what it is. But Jeremy Grant off the bench, 18 points in 25 minutes. Future 6th Man of the Year winner.
Yeah.
I mean, him being able to come in the game and just make every three is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. 7 for 7 from the free throw line as well. There was a play in this game. I know he was 4 for 12 from the field, so he was 1 for 5 inside the arc, but he got to the line 7 times, right? So he had 18 points on 12 shots. Like, efficiency was fine, even though he was 4 for 12 from the field. He's 3 for 7 from 3, which is solid. Were you about to say something before I go on this little tangent?
No, go ahead.
Okay. There was a play that epitomized this season for him that he got to the free throw line on, where I forget what happened, but somehow he ended up with the ball completely wide open from 15 feet, and he pump faked the mid-range jumper, and Taylor Hendricks flew out on him, and he drew a foul and got to the free throw line. And I was like, there's no way Jeremy just passed up a completely wide open 15-footer.
Well, he wasn't even going to shoot that, and then he saw the guy in the air, and it was like, I might as well get to the foul line.
Yeah. It was like he didn't even think about it. I was like, this guy last year or the year before is absolutely, even though he's wide open, probably fading away and shooting that 15-footer. And missing it, more likely than
Probably
not.
back rim, yeah.
Probably back rim. And instead, it's like, pump fake, try and get downhill no matter what, even though you're wide open for 15 feet. And he gets to the free throw line. And it's like, exactly. That's exactly how you should play. Exactly how you should play. Because, I mean, if there wasn't any contact, he was probably going to get to the rim for a wide open layup or dunk. He's much better when he's not shooting mid-range shots. I know, like, he can make those shots and make some tough mid-range shots, but props to the coaching staff, because Tiago Splitter talked about Jeremy taking the shots that they want, which is at the rim in threes. Props for the coaching staff for, A, getting him to buy in coming off the bench, and also props to Grant for these things as well, because Grant is playing hard off the bench. And then B, improving his shot diet, right? Because he could sit here, even though he's being told to take shots at the rim in 3, and he could still say, screw it, I'm still going to shoot these mid-range shots. I'm Jeremy freaking Grant. I'm a $32 million player. For all intents and purposes, I'm a max player, and I have nothing to prove. My name's DeAndre Ayton. I'm going to shoot a bunch of mid-ranges. He could easily be sitting here saying that.
Yeah.
Instead, he's buying into what the coaching staff is telling him, and props to the coaching staff for telling him at the rim or 3. And that's why he's been crazy efficient this year. Part of it's because he's shooting an insanely hot 3-point shot, but there's been good results when he gets downhill and gets to the rim. And even though he's 1 for 5 inside the arc today, he has 7 free throw attempts and he knocks them all down. If he's shooting a bunch of mid-ranges, he's probably 1 for 5 inside the arc with no free throws. So, love the style of basketball he's playing offensively, you know, and having just like a pure scorer that doesn't really pass is much more palatable off the bench, where it's like, oh, your offense started slow, you need a spark to come into the game. Here's Jeremy Grant. Boom, 2 threes, you're right back in the game.
I'm loving him off the bench, man.
It's perfect for him. Like, he is the best bench player in the league right now, and he should take pride in that.
However, I was very confused at the beginning of this game because he was also starting and guarding Lauri Markkanen at the beginning of this game.
Oh, yeah, according to Kevin Calabro. Yeah. I guess Jrue does look a little bit like him on the TV.
He does.
And apparently they weren't sitting too close to the court, so I kind of get it. But like, also, if you're Calabro, you should know he's not starting.
It gets Calabro so much.
You literally are doing segments about how he's scoring so many points off the bench. Obviously, he's not starting.
No, the bad part, though, is Lamar corrected him, and then he was like, oh, I was talking about last possession. And it was like, No,
I didn't
Jrue
even hear
wasn't
that part.
Jrue wasn't in the game, not possession either. Like, no, dude, he doesn't start. And he's like, oh yeah, silly me. Jrue doesn't start anymore. Whatever. Yeah. So I was like, oh no, is this gonna ruin his 6th Man of the Year campaign because people are gonna think watching this game that he's starting?
Yeah, because of collab, bro. Listen, that's not as bad as whatever Mike Rice used to call Aminu. You know how for a whole year he couldn't say his last name right.
Oh, that was funny though.
How did he say it?
I don't remember, but
Chat, do you remember what I'm talking about? How did he used to say it? Because he used to
yeah, he used to always
Animu. Is that how he said it? I don't remember how he said it, but he used to mess it up in it, and it drove me kind of crazy. Kevin Clapper was talking all sorts of nonsense tonight. Yeah, but he's one of the best play-by-play local guys in the league. You know, I'll take the mishaps with some of the calls that he has, because listening to other games across the league, I am happy with him being the commentator, even if he thinks Jrue Holiday is Jeremy Grant. Also, if he's sitting courtside, I don't think he makes that mistake. Like they said, they were pretty high up. I think.
He's made that mistake several times this year.
All right, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm sure you're right.
I mean, it's not like if it was any point of the game other than the beginning of the game, I could have understood it. It was hilarious at the beginning of the game and he did it multiple times. It was like, no, Grant's not in the game, dude.
Yeah, true. Uprise came off the bench. If this team is trying to win basketball games, he should probably take the Young minutes.
Yeah. I mean, Young only played, 3 minutes tonight?
Yeah. He did have a nice finish, but a turnover. What even happened on that turnover? He just, held the ball out and it got poked away or something. It was just a weird, bad turnover.
I don't know if it slipped or what. But.
Yeah, I don't really even understand. He is such a work in progress defensively, man. I was hoping his defense would be a little bit better than this. I knew it was going to be a struggle, but the defense is a problem. And I think he has a great work ethic, so I'm sure he'll improve a lot. He just has so much improvement that he needs to make. I don't really know where he's going to be able to get on that end of the floor. Like, he's big, but he has a lot of work to do. Which is fine. He's a rookie. If he puts the work in and he improves, great. I'm not expecting results in year one, but it's kind of rough as a team trying to win games and make a playoffs to have him play, even though it's part of the development of him that they say, you're trying to win games. It's not a developmental year. You know what I mean? He would probably be best served playing in the G League to develop right now. The G League would probably do him some good. Build some confidence. It's a better level than what he played at last year. He should be in the G League for whenever Robert Williams is healthy. And honestly, at this point, I mean, you kind of have to have him suited up if you don't have Robert Williams healthy, but Uprise came in and immediately had an impact on this game, and it's not like Uprise's defense is worse right now. Uprise came in and in 12 minutes had 9 points and 2 dimes. 9 points and 2 dimes. He hit threes. And he's, as a 5-man, he can drag the opposing center outside the paint. Now, size-wise, you know what's funny is Uprise, his natural position is center, and Denny Avdia's is not, but I think both of them are as much of centers as each other. I think Denny rebounding, protecting the rim wise, playing big is as much of a center as Uprise is. So I kind of feel like with Breath in the game at the 5-man, yes, he's a 5, but you're still kind of going small, just like you would if it was Denny as your biggest player on the floor. But, he's big enough that he's a decent-sized body that can shoot threes that you can throw into the lineup and play 5 out and still play fast. So I think, wouldn't mind seeing more Duop-Reith, especially with Young. Just isn't. He's not NBA ready. He's just not NBA ready. He's a project big man. He has a lot of tantalizing flashes of skill and upside and this and that, which is why the Blazers took him at 16th. But he also has some things he struggles with, which is why everybody thought he was going to be a second-round pick.
So if we're winning games at a 60% clip, but still getting away with playing him 3 to 5 minutes in the first half, are you saying that they shouldn't do that?
Well,
or what?
How many? If we're winning 60% of the games, playing 3 to 5 minutes a half at the end of the year, you could probably make the case that we'd have a couple more wins at the end of the year if we were playing Duop-Reith. I think at this point, like, if we played Young Hansen for those Duop-Reith minutes, we probably lose this game, right? We won by 2. Duop-Reith came in and was really solid.
But I'm talking about we did play him 3 minutes and won.
Yeah, but, like, I think you start to have the question, like, is him playing 3 minutes a night doing that much for him that it's worth, like, just risking, okay, we play him 3 minutes and the other team goes on, like, a 6-0 run? Because they just attack him in the pick and roll.
Yeah, I don't know.
And is that helping his confidence? Like, is that really helping his development? He can't even build a rhythm in that amount of time. Like, I'd rather him be down in the G League playing 30 minutes in a game.
I mean, he is getting tired.
Yeah. Work on his conditioning in the G League where he can play a ton of minutes and get in better shape, and get used to the faster pace of the NBA. Because I think that's kind of what he's struggling with, is, like, the athletes and the ball pressure and how fast the game moves. I don't think 3-4 minutes in an NBA game is going to serve him as well for getting used to that stuff as it would him playing 30 minutes for the remix. So I think he should absolutely spend some time in the G League this year. I think it would be good for him and good for his development. You just don't have Robert Williams right now. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know if he needs to stick with the main roster just to continue to learn the language and the communication thing. I mean,
why can't he learn that with the G League?
It's just for communication from a different person. But I mean, everything helps right now, I think. But also the G League hasn't started yet, so
yeah. I think a lot of the terminology should be the same though, because the Blazers G League too.
Hopefully.
So he's here to attract Chinese viewers. I mean, how many more Chinese viewers are they getting just if he's playing 3 minutes a game? You know what I mean? So the remix can get 1 million people watching their game because he's playing for them. You know? And I wonder what the ratings would be for the remix in China if he's playing for the remix.
A YouTube game is going to do numbers.
I know. Can we do? Well, YouTube's banned in China, so.
Oh, true.
I was gonna say, if YouTube wasn't banned in China, can we do live streams for the remix Blazers if he's down with the remix, so we can get 1 million views? But yeah, there's just a lot to work on.
Do you think there's any? If I told you that they were trying to force him to maybe do some stuff to like help perspective or whatever, do you think there's any truth to that, or do you think it's just simply
to help perspective? I'm confused what you mean.
Like, obviously, even Cronin admitted he was a bit of a reach where they picked him. Maybe, a lot of people think we only drafted him to get money from more viewers and stuff like that. Do you think they're like placating to those people and trying to prove that they didn't make a terrible pick and just like trying to play him a little bit, or do you really think they think he just needs a little bit of time to develop?
How is playing him right now going to make him look like not a terrible pick? If anything, playing him right now is going to make him look like a worse pick.
Well, it's becoming that, but maybe like when they started the season with this plan, that's what they started the plan with.
I mean, did they not know what they have on their hands? They want to say, this is our guy, we've watched him for 2 years. Apparently they don't know their own guy then? Like, I if that's true, that's a huge red flag because they themselves should know this guy better than anybody and should know that, yeah, he's not really NBA ready because he has these struggles defensively and the pace is going to be too fast for him and he's not in shape, right? So if you didn't know that, but this was your guy that you were hyper fixated on for 2 years and really wanted to enter the draft last year or whatever, and you think that going into the season playing him's going to make that pick look good for PR purposes since people thought you reached, that's like insane to me. I don't believe that's the thought process because that would be insane.
But do you think like if they might not put him in the G League because of that?
That's idiotic. So that thought process would be, we drafted a big man who's not NBA ready, okay, but instead of giving him good developmental opportunity in the G League and helping him develop as a rookie project big man, we're going to rob him of that developmental opportunity so he can struggle for 3 minutes a game in the NBA for us to try and show that we didn't reach. That's what that would be. Like, so I think that would be completely insane. So I don't believe that, no.
Well, we do know, I mean, it's pretty obvious they thought he was more ready to contribute than he has been. I mean, a lot of that was Chauncey, but they said they felt comfortable putting him in a game and having him play right away. And they're obviously a little off on their assessment of how ready he was to play in a game.
I don't even know if they believe that. I don't know if they believe that. I think that was just like, we're going to try and get him in for a few minutes a game for developmental purposes and, you know, this and that, and we're going to say he's ready because you're not going to sit here and say, we're going to play the guy. He's not ready, but he's going to play.
Well, they're pretty hyped after Summer League. I don't know.
I mean, it's Summer League. Like,
no, I know,
it's
but
lip service.
I'm just saying,
like,
those comments came after Summer League.
We got to stop believing, like, that comments from front office, coaching staff are like face value, because
but they're not out here
they would probably say
saying,
the same thing about Uprise.
But they don't though. They didn't say, "Oh, Duop's we're out without Rob for a while." Duop.
Well, let's hear what they say tonight, because they probably would say that after tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, when you draft a guy and it's not, especially with the Blazers, man, who, you know, gave us the not your average 19-year-old and should have learned from those comments. You know, they shouldn't be out here hyping the guy up as someone who's
we're over exaggerating how much they hyped him up, though. I don't feel like they hyped him up that much. What comment to you was like an example of that?
Not necessarily that he was like going to dominate or whatever, but I mean, they both said multiple times that they felt comfortable with him if he needs to play minutes this year. And
yeah, that means nothing.
No, I know, but that does. I mean, he's much more of a. I don't know. I felt like that does a disservice when you do. I say that. I feel like it would have been better with like, okay, even this guy has some amazing plays and looks like he could be the real deal. Let's have some patience with him and understand that it's going to take some time for a big.
Yeah, I mean, do a lot of organizations say that with bigs they draft in the first round, though? Like, I feel
but that goes back to me for what I feel like they're doing this just to because they don't want to admit that was the case, you know, especially with how.
But I mean, you got to think about it from like they want Young to feel like they have confidence in him, especially if they're planning to play him like developmental minutes. They want him to feel like, yeah, we're completely comfortable. Like, just go out there, play your game. Like, that's what he needs to hear. Which, I mean, he hears it from a translator, so who knows? But I feel like any like young big in that situation, organization is going to say like, especially if they're planning on playing him some developmental minutes, like we're comfortable with playing him right now compared to like he's going to take some time because it's just a vote of confidence in your young big. So
to be clear, once again, not speaking anything about him long term or worried about him becoming a player someday. We're simply talking about right now whether you can count on him to come in an NBA game. I don't see any way you could say yes right now.
Yeah. Like this is. If he wasn't playing right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation. This is just about how ready he is right now. That's a completely different conversation from long term. So I feel like, if we talk about how he's not ready right now, people will always take that and be like, how can you give up on him forever? Like, no, we're talking about right now. We're not talking about 2 years from now. We're not talking about 3 years from now. He's a 20-year-old big. You know what I mean? Like people
we're not
always
calling
want to
him a
read
bust.
people always want to read like a million things into conversations like this that were never said. But yeah, like I said this when they drafted him. I said this preseason. Like hopefully he plays well. I'm like trying to be optimistic, but he's a young project big man, and it's fine that he's going to take time, and people are going to have to be patient with his development because he's probably not going to be NBA ready. And that's kind of just where we're at right now. So, yeah, like I think ultimately comments said were votes of confidence in him with their plan to develop him. And like any organization that's going to play a young rookie big is not, is going to have the attitude towards the public. Like, yeah, we're comfortable playing him. And I feel like their plan for him was like, okay, we don't expect you to really contribute, but we don't expect you to screw things up. Like, we think you're good enough to, like, not completely screw things up. So maybe they were a little bit optimistic, but he had a nice finish today. Eric collab cammed himself. He had a nice finish today. He shot some open threes that were close. Like, the offensive stuff is the turnovers are a little rough. Some of the turnovers he has is a little rough, but, like, it's the defense that's where he has a lot catching up to do, for sure. And I also think a lot of the hype. I agree.
For a minute.
What's up?
I got clap cam for a minute.
Yeah, you did get clap cam. I also think like the hype around him from like the fan base also maybe made it seem like he was a little bit more hyped up from the team. Like
but that's what
much hype around him coming in.
I think that's contributing to part of the problem too.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a good kid that's like not going to like he's a humble kid that's not going to get too high or low based on the hype or performances. Although he did have that preseason clip where he looked emotional on the bench. I hope that he's not taking these struggles too hard. This is where it's good to have vets in the locker room. This is where it's good to have Jrue Holiday in the locker room. Because like last year, who was the leader on the team that would be able to be that vet for a guy like Young? I mean, maybe Robert Williams, but he barely plays. I don't really feel like it's Jeremy Grant. You know what I mean? It's having Dame and having Jrue, I think, are two very good vets for this young team.
Travis says DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, don't worry about it, kid. You just got to go out there and dominate and dominate.
Get yourself a cool nickname.
Yeah. His interview comment about Teddy talking crap to him was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, he can be kind of funny. I'll give him that. Yeah, he was talking crap to me like the whole time. It cracked me up.
Also, Young had those. We didn't mention it last game, but he had those two. I think he shot 2 threes.
Yeah.
Is that last game?
Yeah.
And one of them like went in and out. I felt like if he just gets one to fall, it'd help him out so much. But they look fine. I don't mind him taking those. You can't hit one in a game so far.
Kenneth says, hell, they said the same thing about DC. He's too slow and out of shape. Look at him now. Young has more offensive skills than DC. Yeah, but like those offensive skills have to translate into production. It's one thing to have skills; it's another thing to like produce offensively. Like, but also I always thought that DC like he had good games where he played 30 good minutes last year. I always thought people over exaggerated that a little bit, and I always thought people that said he can't play 30 minutes a game this year. He looks very capable of playing 30 minutes a game. He played 28 minutes a game, 28 minutes today. He didn't look gassed at all. Like, he's in great shape. He improved that. And he's the type of guy that you just trust to improve those things, Clingan. The thing is he's for how he plays, he was much more NBA ready, though. Like, he didn't have as much catching up to do to play the role that he's best in. Whereas Young, the role that he's best in is like hub of an offense, and there's just so much that goes into that he has to learn, that he has a lot more of a learning curve to figure out.
And also, there's no comparison. When Denny came in as a rookie, Donovan, immediately impactful on the defensive end. Young is food on the defensive end. So yeah. That's what makes one very playable rookie and one almost unplayable at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, DC is going to have moments and stretches where he struggles too. Like, he's not going to be perfect for every stretch. So I see people talking about, like, he struggled the last 10 minutes. His hands at the end of the game weren't blah, blah. Like, okay, yeah, sure, fine. But, like, he's going to consistently be solid. Like, no player is going to be good all the time. Even the best players aren't good all the time. Shout out to the Energy Warning member for 9 months. Says, hey, fellas, stoked for another season with Blazers Uprise. Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm excited. Excited to be here. Excited for another season. Excited for a season where hopefully we can remain above 500. That would be fun, especially against this tough early season schedule. But yeah, Clingan does big man things well. Young is learning them. That's the biggest difference between the two right now.
Kenneth isn't listening to us, so you guys think Hansen is a bust already?
See, I told you guys people would do this, talking about how he's not NBA ready right now, and people would think that means we think he's a bust. I told you guys 5 minutes ago that people would do this. They always do it. It always happens. Yeah, no, we're talking about his first 5 games of the NBA, and if he's ready to contribute to a winning team right now, that has nothing to do with who he is in 6 years. Like, absolutely not. He just has a lot of work to do and a lot of improvement to make. He's a raw project big. We knew that going in. Like, we knew that when we drafted him, so I don't really understand. I don't really understand that.
We don't have to do this. Not everything is... oh, this person's amazing, or he sucks, or like
he's a bust already 5 games in because he's not ready.
Area in between that, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, ready to move on from the center conversation, because we have plenty more players play off the bench, and I want to get through them pretty quickly here, and then we'll go around the NBA to end the stream. So let's see here. Caleb Love, your guy Caleb Love, Eric.
Yeah.
Hit a transition trailing 3, which was a pretty cool play. Blake Wesley gets a steal, rushes it down the court, decides not to try and go 1-on-2. Good decision. Kicks it out for a Caleb Love trail 3, knocks it down, but he's 1 for 3 from 3. He did have, in 8 minutes, he did have 4 assists, Eric. And didn't turn over the ball. I thought the Caleb Love minutes were actually solid today. I thought they were actually solid today. I think, like, his intensity on the defensive end, like, I never saw him defend in college, I feel like. You know what I mean? He doesn't really know as a defensive player, but he's playing with energy on the defensive end and, like, has had a couple of good moments where he, doesn't get beaten off the dribble, which is, like, all I'm asking for from him. And, yeah, I don't know. I would not play him with Blake Wesley. I probably wouldn't play him at all right now, but tonight I thought he was fine.
He was all right.
Yeah,
so to get up those shots.
Which is better, all right or fine?
Um, Fine's probably better
Okay.
than all right. I don't know.
Chat can answer that one for us, but yeah, I thought he was all right. Which is like him being all right in 8 minutes is good. Does that make sense? Like him being just okay is good as a two-way rookie.
I just, yeah, yeah,
Like if you're gonna
sure,
play him, you're hoping that he's just all right. You're hoping that he's not
yeah.
0 for 6 in 7 minutes.
He'll definitely try.
Um, and then
The dude only knows one way to play,
I
and
know.
that's I'm a star college player still, and today it worked.
I don't know, man. 4 assists in 8 minutes. Did he have a single game last year with 4 assists? Maybe that's growth, man.
Maybe.
Maybe just like the coaching staff told Jeremy no middies. Maybe they're telling Caleb Love, hey, maybe try sending the ball a teammate's way instead of at the basket.
We still got up 4 shots.
In 8 minutes, yeah. Hey, that's one shot every 2 minutes. It's not that bad. He could shoot. What was the game he had where he shot like 10 times in 12 minutes or whatever it was? It could be worse. Blake Wesley, 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 5 from three. It was cool to see him hit 2 threes. It then pissed me off that he's like, oh, I'm a shooter now. Transition 3. Almost airballs brick off the front of the rim.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I get it, but also chill. Like, shoot the completely wide open ones, fine. Like, he set up from the 3-point line, and his guy completely helped onto a Denny drive, and Denny knew that was going to happen and drove at the guy to get him to commit and kick to Blake Wesley a 3 that he could, like, set up for all day, and he knocked it down. Like, okay, cool. The transition stuff on the run early in the clock, no, dude, do not shoot that crap. That is not your game, man. The broadcast keeps talking about how he's, like, bought into the style of play and thinks the system fits his style of play perfectly. It's like, okay, yeah, do those things. Keep doing those things. You're not Damian Lillard just because you make a 3. You're like, why are you shooting transition 3s? I don't understand. So chill with that. He did have 2 steals, did have 3 assists, 10 points, 4 for 7 from the field. So like it was a really good game from him. Turned in a really good effort. Chill with some of the transition 3s and early clock mid-range shots though. It's I like him when he drives. He can finish a little bit around the rim. It was nice to see him knock down his first 2 threes in a Blazer uniform as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way he's playing on defense, and he's freaking annoying, but like it's good to have him on our team, so tonight I felt like he was super impactful in the game. I wish he would only shoot at the basket, even though he hit 2 threes tonight. But I understand if you're open, you have to shoot some. But yeah, that 1 3 was like, no, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, even if you make that, it's not a good shot. So hopefully he can learn how to get to the rim more with his quickness. But man, it is fun having a guy who just comes in. I mean, we've seen like Tamani and stuff do that the last couple of years, but it's really fun seeing a guy just come in and just get under the skin. I don't know how he got called for that foul, or it wasn't at least a double foul.
Because the NBA is stupid and terribly reffed.
George like just shoves him, and then that's somehow a foul on Wesley. But like he was getting to the point where it's like the other team's like getting frustrated with him, and that's awesome, man.
That foul call was basically like, you're being a little too pesky.
Yeah.
You got shoved to the floor, but you were being very pesky, so we're going to call you for the foul.
We need to tone this down.
Yeah, like, I keep tweeting about it, not to just keep tweeting the same stuff. It drives me absolutely insane the way this league is refereed. It drives me completely crazy. Crazy. It's so terribly reffed. It's freaking horribly reffed. That's why the Jazz shot 49 freaking free throws tonight. Just insane. Like, it was not consistent at all tonight. And then they shove a player to the ground, and there you go. But last player that played tonight, there's a crap ton of them. Ryan Rupert played 14 minutes tonight. I don't even know if he played 14 minutes combined in preseason. That's how little he's played even in preseason. Was 1 for 2 from 3 today. Plus 13 in 14 minutes, Eric. He was a plus 13. Team high. Now, he made a 3, airballed a 3. The 3 he airballed, it's because he didn't have 3 seconds to shoot it. You know, like when he gets his feet set and like has time to kind of bring the ball up, his shot looks decent. If he has to rush it at all, if there's a defender around him at all, he airballs. Like, it's brutal. And that's what you saw tonight. The 1-3 he made, he was completely wide open and had all day to shoot and knocked it down. And the one he airballed, he didn't. So that's, but those are only 2 shots he shot. He had 3 boards. He had 2 steals. He, like, came in and did the pesky defense stuff that the Blazers do, and it worked.
Yeah, I liked his activity on the defensive end. Like you mentioned, when he was set for the 3, it looked good. When he wasn't, it looked awful. Yep. And once again, I mean, I understand if it was – I can't remember if that one is at the end of the shot clock or not, but just know your role when you come in. Some of these end-of-the-bench guys, don't be shooting some of that. That's why I was also kind of iffy on Caleb Love.
Yeah.
I feel like some of these guys don't recognize that you come into a game to play a role. If you're an end-of-the-bench guy, especially if you're missing guys with injuries. You're not coming in to be Damian Lillard. So don't take those kind of shots. And so I do appreciate some of the players who aren't doing that. But I don't know. I've been really down on Rupert. Just hasn't really done a whole lot. But to be fair to him, he hasn't gotten a ton of consistent opportunities to. And I don't think tonight really showed anything super bad that he shouldn't get a chance if people are out. But I also don't know how comfortable I feel playing him against better teams either.
Radio broadcast mentioned a rookie ref in the game tonight. Well, they fit right in.
Yeah.
They fit in like a 15-year vet with how poorly refereed this game was. Anyway, how would you improve it, Tori? What, repair shot? How would I improve? You asked him about repair shot. He brings it too straight up and down and too far away from his body. Oh, no, the reffing? I mean, have accountability. That is literally one word answer, accountability. Accountability for the refs. And don't be biased for big markets and star players. Like, this league is too biased. Drives me insane. Anyway, while Eric goes and does whatever he does, let's go around the NBA. Let me pop up the scores from tonight for you guys. We had 10 games in the association. 10 games across the league. Here are the scores from tonight's games. I will read off some of the more important stat lines for you guys. So we got the Celtics. They started 0-3, but they've won their last 2 games, and they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 125-105. For the Celtics, 30 points for Jaylen Brown, 21 off the bench from Sam Hauser. He was 7 for 13 from the field. He was 7 for 13 from 3. That guy only shoots threes. And then Anthony Simons, 26 minutes off the bench. He had 14 points, 2 assists, 4 for 6 from 3, 4 for 9 from the field. Kind of a little bit of a ho-hum game for him after having a big game last game in the Celtics' first win of the season where Simons scored 25 points. For the Cavs, my guy Jalen Tyson led the way. He's been playing a decent amount of minutes. Started in this game. He's starting a bit for the Cavs. And he had struggled to start the year, but tonight, 19 points, 5 boards, 3 steals, 8 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. Good to see him have a good game. And then Evan Mobley, 19 points, 11 boards, 4 assists. Donovan Mitchell had been playing great, but was only 5 for 12 for this one for 15 points. Then we had the Rockets beating the Raptors. The Rockets moved to 2-2 on the year as they get a 139-121 win over Toronto. There's been a lot of games with 139 points scored this year, Eric. Is that just me? Like, I think
That's the number.
That's the number, man. The Blazers had a win like that this year, and then I think the Mavs did. A lot of teams scoring 139 this year for whatever reason. But the Rockets led by 31 from KD, 25 from Eric's guy, Jabari Smith. 25 points, 5 assists, 5 boards for him. And then Tari Eason, 14 off the bench. Steven Adams, 12 off the bench. Reed Shepherd still isn't looking particularly good. He was 0 for 4 from 3. For the Raptors, 29 from Brandon Ingram, 31 points from Scotty Barnes. That team just struggles to defend. Colin Murray Boyles got the start today, though, Eric. Did you see he was 3 for 4 from 3?
Yeah, he's been playing well when he's got minutes so far.
Yeah, if he can shoot, man, they got themselves a piece. His shot is so ugly, though. I need to see him go 3 for 4 from 3. I'm going to look up the highlights after this game because I can't picture him going 3 for 4 from 3 at all. The Magic, Eric, are the Magic the most disappointing team of the year so far? 1-4?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of a team that's more disappointing, but
the Hawks were disappointing until they won tonight. Trae Young has a knee sprain, but is having an MRI, so hopefully nothing serious there. But the Magic are 1-4 on the season because all of a sudden they cannot defend. Detroit scores 135 points against Orlando. Really strange after making the Desmond Bane trade. But I will say this: if the Magic suck, maybe that 2028 unprotected Orlando first starts to look pretty good. That's my hope.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. At the time, we probably would have never asked for the 2026 first from Memphis because we probably thought it was going to be good.
Yeah.
With all the injuries in the East this year. And I mean, it's still 5 games in, so it could change. But man, imagine if we had their 2026 first right now instead of 2028, and we had that in this draft. Like we talked about having New Orleans, who's 0-4, we'll get to in a second.
Yeah. Yikes. This is like the weird time of year where it's still early enough where like it doesn't really matter. It's not really indicative of a whole lot, but also it's like, the Magic start 1-4. That might be a real thing where just for some reason their defense takes a step back this year. The Pacers start 0-4. We'll get to that game in a second, but like some of these themes are probably true, but some of these themes are probably just early game sample, like the Bulls being 4-0, for example. So I think, once we get like 10 to 15 games in, then it's a lot easier to look at teams and be like, yeah, this team's for real, and yeah, this team is probably worse than we thought. But the Magic lose to the Pistons, 30 points, 10 assists from Cade Cunningham, 23 from Tobias Harris, 21 from Jalen Duren, who's having a good start to his year in Detroit. And then Orlando, they had 24 from Paulo, 11 boards, 7 assists, 22 from Franz Wagner. Desmond Bane struggles 4 for 15 from the field. And then Jalen Suggs, man, 1 for 4, 8 points, 5 assists. Feels like he's taking a little bit of a back seat. Kind of strange. Tristan DeSilva's been good off the bench for them. He had 15 points, but yeah, it's weird stuff going on in Orlando right now.
Yeah, I don't really understand it.
My coach of the year might be the opposite of the coach of the year.
First coach fired.
Yeah, if they keep things up at this rate. The Hawks beat the Nets 117-112. The Nets fall to 0-5 on the year. Not really a surprise there. They're probably the worst team in the league. Jalen Johnson, 23 points.
By design.
Yeah, by design. When you have 5 first-round picks from the past draft, more often than not, you're probably not going to be good. 23 from Jalen Johnson, 7 boards, 5 assists. Trae Young only played 7 minutes in this game before going down with a knee injury. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 18 off the bench. Luke Kennard, 17 off the bench. The 2 big offseason acquisitions for the Hawks. Then Mohamed Gee continues to be very low-key solid for them. 9 points in 14 minutes, 4 for 6 from the field. They've found themselves a piece there. For the Nets, 32 points from Michael Porter Trashcan. 19 points on 6 for 20 shooting from Cam Thomas. It's always fun to look at the next box scores just to see how rookies are doing, but basically the box scores are like Ben Seraph starts and does absolutely nothing, and then Yegor Demon comes off the bench and does nothing but shoot threes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's shot. Let me look at this for Yegor Demon. He's played in 5 games. He has shot. No, he's played in 4 games, including today. He has shot 22 shots from the field. They are all 3-point attempts.
Nice.
They are all 3-point attempts. So maybe the worries about him not being able to get downhill are very valid, because he's not at all. He's made some threes to start the season, though. I think the shot is better than it was last year, but he literally can't do anything off the dribble. You have the Kings falling to the Bulls. The Kings, maybe this is the year they blow it up. They're 1-4. Things are just not going well there in Sacramento. Of course, they're missing Keegan Murray, who Kings fans tell me is a superstar waiting in the wings. Shout out to you if you know what I'm talking about. It's Twitter stuff. They lose to the Bulls. 27 from Matas Buzelis, who has a great game. 11 for 18 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3 for the second-year player. Kevin Huerter, 18 off the bench. And then for the Kings, they did have 30 from Zach LaVine. They start Russell Westbrook in this game. Yeah, it's just a mess there in Sacramento. The Bulls, are they for real, Eric? Are they a playoff team instead of a play-in team for once?
Yeah, first and 1 seed.
Yeah. We need to start putting standings up just to see the chaos from some of these standings. Maybe next stream we'll do that. The Mavs beat the Pacers 107-105. The Pacers just struggling from injuries. Of course, they have no Halliburton this year, but they've been playing without Andrew Nembhard as well. He missed this game as well tonight. Pascal Siakam's been doing his best, 27 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists on 9 for 23 from the field for him, but the Pacers can't get the win. The Pacers just signed Mac McClung. He played 13 minutes off the bench. They cut James Wiseman to do so. Ray J. Dennis played 30 minutes off the bench and had 17 points and 5 assists. He's had he's had some good moments. So it's always interesting this time of year just to see what names are coming out of the weeds to maybe take a step into being, NBA caliber talent. Ray J. Dennis is one of them in Indiana. He's had to step up given the injuries that team is unfortunately suffering from. For the Mavericks, they were led by 20 points off the bench from, guess who? Former Blazer Brandon Williams.
Yeah.
Brandon Williams with 20 off the bench. And then do you know who their second leading scorer was, Eric?
No, because I know AD got hurt.
It's completely out of the blue. Do you have a guess?
Trying to think of something random. No, I don't.
Dwight Powell.
Oh, nice.
It's like the most obvious, like, not expected pick. You know, like the guy's been there for forever but doesn't do anything now. But he did stuff tonight. He was 10 for 12 from the free throw line. And then 15 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists from Cooper Flagg in this one. That's a crazy box score. Anthony Davis only played 7 minutes. I don't know what he went down with, but I guess, AD went down with something. Again, you have the Nuggets blow out the Pelicans. The Pelicans look awful to start the year. They are 0-4. And this is despite Zion Williamson being healthy and playing. So maybe we get things to shake up in...
Did he play tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, he played 26 minutes, was 4 for 8 from the field, 11 points, 2 assists, no rebounds. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the injuries have caught up to him. I don't know. Herb Jones had 5 points in 21 minutes. Trey Murphy had 7 points in 32 minutes, was 1 for 8 from the field. Everybody was awful except Jeremiah Fears, who had 21 points and 6 assists on 10 for 15 from the field. So at least they got him in the draft last year. But things are a disaster in New Orleans. We're going to talk about that pick. But for the Nuggets, 21 12 rebounds, 10 assists from Nikola Jokic, 17 points from Jamal Murray, 17 points from Christian Brown, 11 off the bench from Tim Hardaway Jr., 10 off the bench from Jonas Valanciunas as the Blazers' next opponent. Of course, they have Cam Johnson as well, who they traded Michael Porter trash can for. The Pelicans, though, man, do these pieces become available this year if they suck and they don't have their pick? Or do they just say, we don't have our pick because we traded away for Derek Queen? So we are going to try and get the 10th seed, even though we're 10 games back at the deadline. Like, what do you even do if you're New Orleans, man?
No idea.
They're starting DeAndre Jordan over Yves Missy right now. Like, they signed Kevon Looney. It's like, why? You just traded your first-round pick unprotected next year for a center, and you have Yves Missy, who was solid last year as a rookie. Why are you signing Kevon Looney? And then Kevon Looney gets hurt, and it's like, oh, okay, you'll actually be able to play both of these centers, and you have Karlo Matkovic, who's a little underrated. You're finally going to be able to play these guys. Nope. DeAndre Jordan's going to start now. That's comically bad. The Hawks are going to end up with a top 3 pick from the Pelicans, and the Blazers maybe had that trade on the table and could have taken that trade. And could have taken Nick Clifford at 23 and had the Pelicans pick this year. You know, that would have been pretty cool. But anyway, you know, who cares? Because the Blazers won tonight 136-134 over the Jazz. The Lakers beat the Timberwolves 116-115 off a buzzer beater from Austin Reeves. Whoa. What is that background music? Is that your background music? You just decided to blare some fire background music when I started talking about a buzzer beater? That was funny.
Bruh.
Great timing. If it wasn't so random, I would have rolled with it. Talking about Austin Reeves turning into a superstar. Because tonight, I mean, he was 9 for 24 and he has to shoot a ton because they don't have Luka, they don't have LeBron. But 28 points, 16 assists. Eric, 16 assists. Insane. His numbers are insane. Like, he might be an all-star this year. Maybe LeBron should be the third option when he's back. They had
40 something.
Yeah. They had 27 points, 8 rebounds from Jake LaRavia, 10 for 11 from the field. He sucked against us, but he was great tonight against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves playing without Anthony Edwards, so they had some injuries of their own. They got 30 from Jalen McDaniels in the loss, 33 from Julius Randle, and like little production off their bench. And then the final game of the day, Gabe's Suns lost to the Grizzlies 114-113 for the Grizzlies. 28 points, 8 boards, 7 assists from Ja Morant. They had 18 from Jaren Jackson Jr. In 28 minutes, they had 14 points, 4 boards off the bench from Cedric Coward, who was 5 for 10 from 5 for 10 from the field and 2 for 3 from behind the arc. He continues to play absolutely great. And then Javon Smalls had some solid moments as a second-round rookie for the Grizzlies as well. For the Suns, 32 from Book. They had 20 points, 12 boards, 4 steals from Mark Williams, who finally got a start today. They'd been bringing him off the bench and limiting his minutes. They had 18 from Maurice O'Neal, 14 off the bench from Colin Gillespie, who's playing legitimate minutes there. The Suns, though, fall to 1-4. They look like they are I don't know. Seems like it's gonna be a rough year for the Suns, man. Rough year for the Suns. But those are your scores from today. Next stream, we'll put together a little standings graphic just to see the chaos of the standings this early in the year. Anyway, real quick, shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the stream. Make sure to use the promo code Uprise. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100, and you'll get a free $20 entry. No deposit required. And it helps support the channel. You get a free entry. Might win off of it with no deposit required. Might as well, right? A great offer from Sleeper. Shout out to them for sponsoring the stream. And then I don't have my picks ready, but I did drop a parlay in the video yesterday. Did I win it? I had Jeremy Grant over 16.5 points. Hit. Easy hit. All right?
Well, not easy, but
I had Shaden Sharp under 30.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. He had 18 points, 4 rebounds. So 22. He had no assists, so that's a hit. I had Tamani Kamara over 1.5 steals. He had 2. So I hit on all the Blazer things, but I had Keontae George under 7.5 assists, and he had 8. He had 8. If the Blazers didn't let him go on a run at the end there, he probably wouldn't have gotten 8. And this was $10 to win 104. And I was off by half an assist. That's a bad beat, man. That's a bad beat. But I will say this, like, the lines for the Blazers were really easy to pick. But they made me pick something else from the other team, and that was the thing I picked. $10 to win 104, and like all the Blazer ones, I was super confident in. Jeremy Grant over 16.5 points, easy. Kamara over 1.5 steals against a team that can turn over the ball, easy. Shaden Sharp under 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's getting like no assists right now, and he's not scoring the ball like that, easy. Oh, those are all easy. Just the Keontae George thing burned me in the end, but you guys can try your luck. I know you guys know Blazer basketball. You got a free $20 entry with the promo code Uprise, and hopefully you can get the Blazer stuff right and then pick a better prop from the other team. Maybe a sneakily Jokic triple-double is what you pick on Friday. I don't know. But use the promo code Uprise to support the channel. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the stream. We hate bad beats, though. But we live with it. Man.
Yeah.
We move on. Anyway, the Blazers' next game is on Friday against the Denver Nuggets. We'll have that post-game show for you. That's Halloween night. So I'm going to wear a costume of some sort. I don't know what yet.
I just noticed it's October 97th, too.
Oh, goodness. I meant to do 29th, that I don't. Oh. Anyway, I told you guys at the start of the stream it was a long day for me. I can't even. I think it's the 97th day of October. That'd be crazy, man. That's too much Halloween stuff for too long. Any final words, Eric, after the Blazers win, but like almost blow a 22-point lead that they had with 9 minutes left to the Utah Jazz of all teams? Like, good that they won, but also we got to do a better job and not almost completely choking.
Yeah. Well, good job, Blazers, and thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you on Halloween night.
Yep. I love being above 500. Right now we are 5th in the West. We're 5th in the West, Eric. We got the Denver Nuggets. They are 4th in the West. If we can win on Friday, we'll be 4th in the West. I like talking about being 4th in the West instead of being 4th in Tankathon. All right? I don't want to be pulling up Tankathon until like February when we start doing it just because it's getting closer to the draft and we're doing it for other teams and doing it to see how often the Hawks get the number 1 pick from New Orleans. That's what I want to be doing Tankathon for this season. But anyway, shout out Sleeper, promo code Uprise. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in for the stream. I appreciate the way you guys have been showing out for these streams, and expect a video tomorrow. I know you guys have been enjoying that content. So I've been enjoying making it, and shout out to Mubsy for helping me edit it as well. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow, midday or so. And we are out of here. Hit the like on the way out. We don't ask for likes enough, honestly, but it's the easiest way to support the channel. Subscribe if you're new. If you got a friend that's a Blazer fan that you think would be interested in the channel, feel free to share the channel with them as well. And we're going to keep things rolling on Friday. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday and a good Thursday. We'll see you after the Blazers take on the Nuggets. We'll see you before for Picks Against the Spread for those of you that are into that. That'll be on the second channel. You can join our Discord. We'll tag you when we go live with all that stuff. And with that being said, we are out of here. We'll see you on Friday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!